Hey, good morning everyone, Tractorman 44 here. Hey, you can tell I've been a little bit busy this summer and I haven't put up a whole lot of videos. That's because I've been tied up on a project down at my daughter's house. I'm kind of winding that project down towards the end. All the building is completely built. I've got the shelves and stuff done inside. I'm in the process of wiring and everything now, but it's time for me to do some underground wiring to get power over there. And so I don't even remember if I did a video on this thing whenever I brought it home, but I got a chance to pick this up fairly reasonable. As a matter of fact, the reason I picked it up is I eventually plan on putting me a new ground source heat pump in my house, and so it's going to pay for itself probably 3 times over at the very minimum just with that one project. But in the meantime, I've got other things that I need to get taken care of, so I got to go ahead and get this thing fired up again. It's been sitting out for a few years, and I did have a little trouble the first time, and so I'm going to try to solve that issue with its hard starting. It has a 24 horse V-twin Predator engine on it, so that's obviously been replaced. But and it leaks a little hydraulic fluid. It's got the typical things for a machine that's this age. But we're going to see what happens, guys. I got to go ahead and battery's real weak. I put it on the charger, but I've got a broken battery terminal, so I'm going to replace that battery terminal with one of those bolt-on for now, and see if that'll take care of that. Got the new battery, the same battery in. It's a little bit weak. With the new terminal on it. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, and because it has always been, the few times I had it running, difficult to start, I'm going to pull the breather cap off, or the cover off. And if it doesn't fire off right away, I'm going to just hit this with a little bit of little ether real quick. Okay, let's give her a shot. I put some fresh gas in. I had treated gas in, but about a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch. So I just dumped fresh gas in on top of it. Full choke. Well, that's typical. I don't think you have to be real careful with starting fluid anymore because, man, it doesn't have much ether at all. The old ether was very, very, very volatile. This guy here is probably 20%. So you don't have to worry too much about using too much ether. Well, that was a little bit of a surprise starting that quickly, but that's the very first time I ever used ether on it, so I might not even work on it. Just go ahead and use that old nasty ether every time I use it. But then again, I don't know. Now let's see if things still work on it. definitely pumping a little bit of oil. You've seen that blue smoke coming out of there when I put a little bit of a bind on it, moving some of the hydraulics. But it's definitely got a little bit of a hydraulic leak in it, or a fluid leak, because you could hear it squealing when I went to engage the turning wheels or the steering wheels, things of that nature, and even whenever I lifted this the guide bar, whatever you call this part. So yeah, a little bit more maintenance and everything, and a little bit of grease, a little bit of checking, and we might be going digging a ditch here before too long. I guess the things that bothers me is just how much blue smoke it's dumping out of there. It has been setting for pretty doggone close to 3 years. I'd have to go back and look and see. But just because it sets a couple of years doesn't mean it's going to start burning oil. Of course, it could have some stuck rings or something like that. I don't think it's just completely worn out. You know, it's too new of a motor. So anyway, we're going to do some more investigating. Now, to solve the issue of this, I'm probably going to have to do a little repiping on that with something, maybe some conduit, maybe even some copper pipe. But what I'm doing with these guys here, if you take a look, I've extended that all the way up, because that way it's not going to burn my fingers. I just used a set of rod couplers. Rod couplers is essentially a great big long nut used for putting two pieces of threaded rod together. A lot of times we'd use these kind of things whenever we're hanging, commercially hanging units from the ceilings in ceiling joists, or in the bar joists. And so then just use whatever piece of all thread you happen to have to extend it out, and go ahead and extend the handle up here on the very top of it. So that's all we're going to do here. Put a little anti-seize on this guy here. Run that down approximately half the depth of the rod coupling. A little more anti-seize. You don't necessarily have to bottom them out, but in this case I'm going to. Get a little backup down here. Tighten those together. Use that jam nut. And we'll pull this guy down here. Tighten this guy down together. Now, I'm out of the way of all the heat. I can engage and disengage without burning myself. That'll give me plenty of time to figure out a reconfiguration of this muffler, or this tailpipe off of the muffler. Well guys, I guess we can call it quits on this one for the day. I was really surprised that it started so easily, but I can't use it just yet until I figure out all the grease locations. I found some of the spots and got that part greased. I lubricated the chain and all that kind of stuff, got that freed up. Of course it really wasn't stuck, it was just real rusty and squeaky. But I got that kind of lubricated with old oil, and I just filled the gearbox with 80-90 weight. And I've got the crankcase full, but I'm still a little bit low on hydraulic fluid, and so I just can't use it just quite yet. So I'm going to run to town first thing in the morning, get me 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid, and we're going to be digging us a trench here probably, hopefully tomorrow sometime. So like I said, that's all there is to this one here. Another surprising end to a pretty cool day. And this is Tractor Man 44, and I'm out of here, guys.